everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not. There's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So, are you saying? I mean, just like we rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
Like, subscribe and hit that bell. The NFL stopped mid-scroll after Tom Brady went full detective and called out Cleveland for trying to mess with Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, you heard that right. Brady, the guy who treats footballs like art pieces, just dropped a bomb that's got fans wondering if the Browns are running a team or a spy movie. Grab your snacks, because if Brady's yelling sabotage, something wild's going down in Cleveland, and it's not just bad play calling.
The local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shedeur. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook, not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all. But what if I told you? And don't none of that got to do nothing with it. His goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen it, Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd. Now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterbacks.
No one in the NFL saw this coming. Tom Brady, the calm, perfect football monk, just turned into the league's truth teller and aimed right at Cleveland. The same Cleveland that always finds a way to make headlines, even when they're trying to stay quiet. And this time, it wasn't about a loss, a rebuild, or their never-ending quarterback drama.
I sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp, and we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul, unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning.
Nope, this one's juicier. Brady accused the Browns of sabotaging Shedeur Sanders, and the whole league nearly choked on its Gatorade. You'd think Brady, the guy who could teach a tree discipline, would be retired somewhere drinking kale smoothies on a yacht.
Y'all, it's either the Browns are actually developing Shedeur, which I told y'all before too. They actions say otherwise. But Tom Brady gonna break it down in how he got developed early on in his career, eventually lead him to 7 Super Bowls. So if quarterback's not getting developed, anything similar to this?
But nope, not even retirement can stop him from spotting nonsense. What he saw in Cleveland wasn't just bad coaching. It was a full-blown circus pretending to be a football team. Brady said the NFL has this crazy double standard. Players get judged like it's a reality show every second.
Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shedeur Sanders,
Every throw, every step, every mistake is treated like breaking news. But coaches, they're untouchable. They can crash an offense and still be called geniuses. Brady wasn't having it. He said what everyone's been scared to say. Some coaches wouldn't know player development if it slapped them with a playbook. That's where Shedeur comes in. The kid's been picked apart like a science experiment while his coaches get off easy. Cleveland made his start in the NFL look less like a chance and more like a setup. Imagine being told to bake a cake without flour, then getting blamed when it's empty. That's Shedeur's life right now. And Brady wasn't going to stay quiet about it.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been he's been playing against the third year. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't see that.
Apparently, Cleveland's idea of development is handing a guy a helmet and saying, "Good luck." Then, when it falls apart, they shrug and say, "Told you he's not ready." Brady saw through that. He knows talent, and he knows when a team's toxic. The same guy who turned unknown receivers into stars can tell when coaches are half asleep on the job. To Brady, the problem isn't that Shedeur isn't ready. It's that Cleveland didn't make him ready. When Brady speaks, the league listens, especially the people he calls out. The Browns tried to spin it with PR talk about competition and growth, but it sounded fake. Coaches love talking about accountability until it's their turn. Brady compared the culture to an office where interns get fired for typos and bosses get promoted for chaos.
I always had this theory that quarterbacking should be easier now. You have personal coaching, 7-on-7 camps. I mean, guys like you and Drew Bledsoe and Troy Aikman have told me, like, I literally had 8 high school games a year. You're like, I had 40 starts, including high school. Well, guys now have 10,000 snaps by the time they're 14 years old. So I've always said, as a sports commentator, I used to give guys 3 years. My argument now is Thanksgiving year 2, the GM, the coach, the coordinator need to go upstairs in a room privately, raise their hands, yes or no. And I don't care where.
The truth is, Cleveland's coaching mess has been an open secret for years. One guy says they're developing, another says evaluating, and another forgets who the player even is. It's like every coach has their own plan, and none of them involve helping the quarterback. Brady's point hit hard because everyone knows it's true. And then came Stephen A. Smith, the king of outrage. The second Brady's comments dropped, Stephen A. exploded. He'd been warning everyone for months that Shedeur's situation looked like sabotage. That's not an opportunity. That's a trap. You can't build rhythm or leadership when your only practice reps are with guys fighting just to stay on the roster.
That call, he makes that call. Why? Because I want the last thing people to see is the mistakes and the sacks that happen, and not give him a chance to redeem himself. Because I think probably what would happen, okay, we can't have Shedeur come in here and finish this 2-minute drive and go down and get a touchdown. We don't want that. And in chat, for those of you who are listening and watching, I'm not making any excuses for him. He played bad. But I can tell you why he played bad. I mean, if you know the game of football and understand the game of football, understand that those that are in there with him during that time, I'm not going to be on the team.
Then Louis Riddick jumped in, and when he speaks, you know it's about to get serious. He didn't hold back. He said Shedeur's got talent, but the Browns' plan was a joke. No structure, no reps, no real coaching, just empty talk. He said what fans were thinking. This wasn't development, it was delay. He pointed out that other young quarterbacks get patience and proper guidance, but Shedeur was left alone to figure out a playbook that felt like a puzzle. You can't perform when you don't know the rhythm of the offense. Every snap becomes an audition. And when no one in leadership stands up for you, you're basically an orphan on the team. No support, no advocate, just pressure.
Why is the third quarterback getting interviews? He had nothing to do with the game. Okay, it's all for media clicks. And, he's a heck of a personality, but the personality can't come out until you do something on the field. And, it's a big week for Dylan Gabriel and big week for the Browns. I mean, making that transition for him even be available to the press. I don't know why he's doing it.
Can you tell me, you know how that works? Is that the front office? Is that the comms team? Like, who's putting him out? So we're saying it's not really on him. We have to protect him. He's a young player. Why are
I
we
think-
making him available?
Exactly. To me, I mean, there's no sense to have him available.
And then came the biggest twist. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam casually admitted he didn't even know about Shedeur's signing. Seriously. He said the coaches handled it. How does an owner not know about his own quarterback? That's not management. That's negligence in a suit. Brady's words suddenly made perfect sense. How can players succeed when the people in charge don't even know who's running the show? Haslam's comment was like saying, "Oh, we adopted a kid? Cool, hope he's fine." That's not how you build a team, that's how you build chaos. Stephen A. lost it again. He said Haslam's "I didn't know" wasn't a mistake. It was a strategy to dodge blame. And just like that, another young quarterback's story gets rewritten before it begins. Brady's rant looked less like anger and more like truth.
As he get thrown in there with the Wolves. Because the real Wolves come during the season. Pittsburgh is coming. Baltimore is coming. The real Wolves is coming. Now, I am praying to God that Shedeur gets an opportunity to show what he can really do. And I think that would be probably the best thing for him. But knowing the Cleveland Browns, they dumbass gonna trade him.
The league's full of coaches reusing the same excuses, pretending to evaluate, while never helping players grow. Shedeur just became the perfect example of how broken that system is. The crazy part? Brady used to be in the same spot. Drafted low, overlooked, barely given reps. The difference was he had Bill Belichick, a coach who actually developed players. Without that, maybe the world never sees the GOAT. That's why Brady's words hit so hard. He knows development matters, and he knows when players get robbed of it. He called out how coaches hide behind buzzwords while players take all the blame. The NFL looks more like an ego contest than a merit system right now.
I've heard ex-players talk about Shedeur. I've heard ex-NFL coaches. I've heard media members, meaning like beat reporters. I've heard fans talk about Shedeur. And it's funny. I was on with my buddy Bill Ryder today, and I declared myself as Switzerland. And he's like, well, it sounds like you're more like maybe, I can't remember what he said, but basically that I'm more positive about Shedeur than not. And I was like, well, I think some of my positivity is I look at the kid and I go, skill set wise, I think he has what it takes to be anywhere from the 13th best starting quarterback in the NFL.
And here's the funniest part. Cleveland's coaches actually thought they could bench Shedeur quietly, like no one would notice. As if the football world isn't watching every move, every lineup change, every play. Then Brady spoke, and suddenly their plan looked more like a cover-up. It's poetic. Brady, the man who thrived under structure, now calling out a league that's lost it. He's like a retired professor coming back to find students still being taught the same junk he fought against 20 years ago. Only now, the stakes are millions of dollars and a young quarterback's future. Shedeur's not just another prospect. He's got skill, swagger, and family legacy. Meanwhile, the same coaches will keep cashing checks while he rebuilds his confidence.
And that's what you asked for. That's what you asked for within the game. If I could go back and do anything, it's always everything in life if you had that chance, but we don't have the luxury to travel back in time. As a kid, I want to go back and do things differently. So overall, of course, you wish you can, but in the battle of the moment, in the heat of the battle, you want to be that alpha, you want to be that dog, you want to be out there in that final 2-minute drive. So, of course, small things, of course, frustrate, but that's what happens, when you want a player to be able to.
Brady's words cut through the noise. If players get judged like pros, then coaches should too. Don't praise them just for showing up. Judge them on results. Because a quarterback's success depends on his environment as much as his talent. Brady's comments started a ripple. Analysts, fans, and ex-players are all calling out the hypocrisy. How can players lose jobs over one bad game while coaches ruin careers and still get raises? The imbalance is wild, and Brady just threw a spotlight on it. When he speaks, it's not gossip. It's a warning shot. He's saying what players have whispered for years: bad coaching kills talent.
Now, he's got to put in the work. He's got to adapt to the NFL. He's got to adapt to not being coached by his dad. But physically, when we talk about physical talent, the concerns I have about Dylan Gabriel aren't there with Shedeur. Now, I would not have taken him with a number 2 pick under any circumstances. I might have thought about it at 33 or 35. I definitely would have thought about it at 92 over Dylan Gabriel. But the truth is, I don't feel beholden to either of these quarterbacks. We should treat them like scratch-off lottery tickets until proven otherwise. But I'm watching the discourse fall out with Shedeur Sanders. And the latest one's pantomiming, but certainly the one before this was him saying that he feels like he could do better than a lot of the starting quarterback stuff you see around the NFL, and that he's confident he'll be ready to go when his numbers.
If Brady hadn't spoken up, this story would have vanished in the offseason fog. But now, all eyes are on Cleveland. Every move with Shedeur will be under the microscope. Every rep, every quote, every decision, they're officially on trial. Because when the GOAT calls you out, you can't just shrug it off. It's poetic, really. This league still hasn't learned how to protect its future. Politics still beats progress, and loyalty still beats logic. Maybe it's time the NFL admits the real game isn't just on the field. It's behind closed doors, where careers get decided before the first snap. Until that changes, Brady's words will echo through every locker room. If coaches can't build their players, maybe it's time we start rebuilding the coaches.